Okay, everyone. Now we're going to do our self-reflexology ear routine, and I have my handout right here. And we are going to start with a trace around the periphery of the ear. So, with the right index finger, starting with the right ear first, we're going to start inside the lobe of the ear and use an alternating pressure to trace around the periphery of the ear. Once you get to the top, you're going to flip your finger over and find the back side of the ear where the ear actually attaches to the head. And we're going to continue with that press just around the outside of the ear. We're going to do that 3 times. So once you've made your first round, go ahead and make your second round. Just that nice alternating pressure representing all of the back and front of those spinal reflexes. Perfect. After that third time, we're now going to move to the head and neck reflexes on the crest of the ear. That's horizontal zone 1. What we're going to do is we're going to use the thumb on the front of the ear and the index finger in back, so flipping the palm up. We're going to start just above the triangular notch. That's our horizontal zone 2, so we want to start above that using the pincer technique with the thumb on the front, and we're going to squeeze, release, pressure walk from the inside of the crest of the ear to the outside of the crest of the ear 3 times. And this is basically what we're going to be doing in each of the zones. The hand positioning is going to be different as we walk down each zone, but we're basically just clearing the zones with this pincer technique 3 times. Okay? Moving to the third reflex area, that chest and lung reflex, here we're going to access that triangular notch. So the first little ditch, we're going to start there. Again, with the thumb on the front, the pincer motion with the index finger on back, we're going to squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze, release, all the way to the outside of the ear. This represents all of those lovely chest, shoulder, as well as arm reflexes. So if you have any issues in those areas, you might notice this zone to be particularly tender. 3 times. Perfect. Now with the fourth reflex area, the Simbaconcha. So we have our horizontal zone 2 with the triangular notch. Down into our second ditch, down here, we have the auditory canal, and that's going to be our third. But above that, we have the Simbaconcha, and that's going to be our upper digestive reflexes. Here, we can't access the back of the ear right away, so we have to start with the index finger in the upper cave of the ear, just below that triangular notch. And we're going to use an alternating pressure just to press into that area until we reach about the halfway point, and we can bring our thumb to the back and use the pincer technique to go all the way across. We're going to do that 3 times. So start with the finger in that upper ditch, the Simbaconcha, walk halfway, and then bring the thumb and continue the walk out. Yes? Good. Okay. Excellent. After the third walk, now we're going to move to the fourth, and that will be the auditory canal right through here. Again, we can't access the back right away, so starting with the index finger and then walking until we can use that pincer technique. Depending on the size of your ear, that may be a little bit sooner. It's not as deep as that Simbaconcha. Is known as the cavum concha. But again, using that pincer technique based on the size and shape of your ear to walk it 3 times. Last, we're going to walk all those sciatic reflexes. So we're going to, again, start with the finger on the front of the ear, the thumb on the back, and we are going to squeeze, release, all the way to the outside of the lobe. On the other side, when I film that side for you guys, you'll notice that I've taken out my earrings. If you do have any jewelry, it makes it infinitely easier to not have to walk around it. However, you can walk around it, especially if you're in a situation where you need to do reflexology, but you don't feel like you have the time to take off your jewelry and really give yourself that time. You can always walk around it. But just for the ease of this video, I've taken mine out. So, ear reflexology, very, very simple. We've walked all of our zones as well as we've traced around the periphery of the ear. Now we move to the left side. All right, moving on to the left side. Again, we have our handy dandy sheet right here. And we're going to start, first and foremost, you can see that I've removed my earrings. You can always do that, like I said in the previous video, or you can leave them in and walk around them. Totally your choice. But we're going to start by walking around the periphery of the ear, so take the index finger, starting just inside the lobe of the ear, and use an alternating pressure to trace around the periphery of the ear. Now I'm going from the front to the back. You can always go from the back to the front, totally your preference. Nobody's going to spontaneously combust by switching directions, I promise you. So just walking around the outside of the ear in a way that you see fit, just to bring all of that nice blood and looseness to the reflexes around the ear. 3 times. Wonderful. Now, using a pincer technique, again, flipping the palm up to the sky, we are going to access horizontal zone 1, so the crest of the ear, just above the triangular notch, and we're going to use our thumb, and we're going to squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze, release with the index finger and back, and walk to the outside edge of horizontal zone 1. 3 times, representing all of those lovely head and neck reflexes. Okay, same technique, except we're going to start at the triangular notch. So place the thumb in that triangular notch, index finger comes to the back, and we're going to walk to the outside edge of horizontal zone 2. Perfect. With horizontal zone 3, again, we don't have access to the back of the ear until about halfway, so we're going to start with that index finger in that sibbaconcha. We're going to press and then bring the thumb to the back once we get to that area where we can use our pincer technique. All of those lovely upper digestive reflexes. Same thing with the lower digestive reflexes and the cavum concha, depending on the size and shape of your ear. You're going to start with the index finger, and then as you find the back of the ear, use that pincer technique to trace all the way out. 2 and 3. Last but not least, we're going to finish with the lobe, using just a regular pincer technique. 3 times. And that is your left side of the ear. Nothing too crazy, and you're done.